Hello and welcome to Wilmington, North Carolina, and welcome back to another Out of Spec Reviews video. We have yet another video with the Volkswagen ID.4. That's right, this is going to be an interesting one.
I'll make you move like your boots are on fire. I'll make you jump like you touch a live wire. Ain't no sitting down when I get in the zone. Just give me my crown, let the king take his throne.
I have a family member of mine, my girlfriend's mother, who just bought this exact ID.4 First Edition, and I'm really curious to see what a first-time EV owner thinks of this car. Is this too complicated for your average consumer? Or once you meet Lisa here in a little bit, you'll see she's not the most savvy electric car owner. So how is she making do with the ID.4? Let's see how her ownership has been so far. She's already driven it roughly 6,000 miles.
Clap your hands, just clap them for me. Give them a clap. Like 1, 2, 3.
Hey everyone, this is Lisa. You've been in an Out of Spec motoring video, right?
Yes.
So you and Alyssa and your husband Kyle went in our Tesla Model 3. Where did you go?
Down to Charleston.
Down to Charleston from Wilmington. That was a legendary trip. If you haven't seen it, definitely an interesting one. Our audience really enjoyed that. Thanks for doing that. And you just got your ID.4. So
Correct.
Why did you choose to get an electric car?
I just wanted to go into the new century where everyone's going this way, and I've always wanted to drive an electric car.
Very cool. And you chose the Volkswagen over the Tesla Model Y, the Mustang Mach-E. And what was the reason you really liked this Volkswagen, or you chose it?
Well, first of all, look at it. It's it is like a crossover type car, and price-wise, you just can't compare to what the Teslas are. The Model Y Tesla versus what this is. And I also got a $7,500 tax credit, so that just put it over. That's
Right,
what I
yeah.
wanted.
So as a value play, you found that, your car was about $44,000 sticker. Then you got a $7,500 tax credit, 3 years of free road tripping with
Yes.
Electrify America, which you've already taken this
Yep.
on a road trip from here up to Connecticut and Rhode Island and back. We'll talk about that a little bit. But it's pretty toasty outside, so what do you say we jump in the Volkswagen?
Okay.
You want to drive?
Sure.
All right, and we'll go talk about some EVs. This is really cool. I'm pretty excited to see, sort of this new wave of electrification where we are out of the early adopter stage and branching into your average consumers. It's not without issue, but let's see how it's going for Lisa. We're inside your ID.4, going for a cruise around town, and you have 6,000 miles on this thing already, and you've
Correct.
only owned it for, what, 8 weeks?
Yep.
And where have you taken it?
I have taken it clear up to Rhode Island and Connecticut, and we came back and we charged along 95 at the Electrify Americas.
So, before we get into what charging was like on the road, how is your general use case for this vehicle? Because some days you have to basically go nowhere, you do very little driving, and then some days you have to do 200-300 miles in a day.
Correct.
So here in Wilmington, we really don't have much charging infrastructure. And you and I spoke about this when you were buying your car.
Correct.
But we determined that home charging was going to be pretty much enough for you.
Yep.
And has that been the case?
Yep. We just put it in the garage, and I think it's a 110 volt, correct?
Yeah, 240.
240 volt.
Yep.
See, what do I know? And plug it in at night after, if it's under 80%, we try to get it just to 80% for the next day, unless I'm traveling out to past about 100 miles. I'll get it to 100%.
Right, so Volkswagen has a limit recommendation of no more than 80% for daily use, and then to use that top 20% of the battery for road trips, which is how you've been following their guidance. And I agree, I think it works great. Some days you don't even have to plug this thing in.
Nope.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. And when you do go on a trip, here in Eastern North Carolina, there are no Electrify America chargers. So we've mapped out with PlugShare, which you have on your phone, right?
Correct.
We've mapped out the CCS charging charge point, for example, but you do have to pay for that.
Correct. But it's pennies on a dollar.
Yeah, but I remember when you first went to go CCS charge your Volkswagen, it was like the day after you bought it, you took it on a long trip, and you had no idea what you were doing. And all I got was a FaceTime call from you with about 9 people standing around the car trying to figure out how to plug in. What happened?
Well, first of all, I didn't really understand how the plug-in works, and it's pretty easy now. And I didn't. It's very simple because you use your charge card, and so. But there were Tesla chargers next to me, and they were all very nice and helpful.
Right, but I think a lot of that also comes down to the Volkswagen dealers not being that knowledgeable on the product.
Correct. It's all new to them, and since I was probably one of the first, the first, it was a learning curve, and I'm not sure if I would have bought the car without having Kyle walking me through things.
Yeah,
so,
we spent a lot of time on the phone going step by step through a lot of different areas, because the Volkswagen dealer, I mean, let's just be brutally honest, nice people, right? They really helped you out, but they knew nothing. Like literally not even how to connect your phone.
Correct.
So
and now they've been learning so much, so they're probably that much better.
They're better, but I mean, we went in there the other day to talk to them. They had no interest to like ask any questions or learn so I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think dealers are going to be the hardest part of electric vehicle sales. Mm-hmm. Right? So a lot of people have to do their own research because in their interest, they'd rather just sell you a Volkswagen Tiguan, which you drove.
Yes, I drove the Tiguan to compare them, and you just can't compare it. I mean, this car drives so quietly, and I was sold right away. So I was willing to learn how to maneuver an electric car. It's really not hard because it drives like a regular car, but the difference is that the plug-ins, instead of... Actually, I picked up my car the day the gas prices, we didn't have any gas in Wilmington.
Oh, that's right. There were lines for the gas station.
There were lines, and my car was ready to be picked up.
That's so funny.
So I drove right by the gas stations.
With your electric car. If you had to choose a couple things, what have been, I guess, some of the easiest things that you've experienced transferring to an electric car? You mentioned it drives like a normal car. Yeah. Driving it's easy, but would you say it's better or different? Or are there other things that were easy for you to figure out here?
It's once you learn how to use the computer, which is not hard at all, it's just everything is on your dashboard. Everything's clean on the dashboard. It's very easy to read. It's very safe. My car I had before did not have any of the safety features that this car has, and it's a very nice ride. I've had people actually at the grocery store. Literally, I drove by, and they're like looking at me like, "What is that?" And I stopped, and they said, "I can't believe how quiet it is." So it's a very quiet driving car, and it's quiet inside as well.
And leaving dinner the other night, you got some compliments too. There was a whole group of people, when it lit up, they said, "Oh, that looks nice."
Oh, at night? Oh, this is like a spaceship.
Yeah, you got lights everywhere. It's really cool. I mean, I think the ID.4 is really probably the coolest car you can buy for the money.
Yes.
But we did go through a lot of different options for you. We suggested combustion cars, hybrid cars, plug-in hybrid, and battery electric, and we decided, you have a diesel as well, so like if anything were really if you forgot to charge it, you could at least get around in the truck.
Right.
But for the most part, I think, look, we have 231 miles. You drive so slow. Seriously. And that means that when you full charge this car, it predicts almost 300 miles and sometimes above.
Right. And when my husband drives the car, it's a little bit less, but...
Sure, well, he rips around.
But, and by the way, when we're on the highway, it's a fast car. I mean, I can go from 0 to 40 within like like a half a second. Do I do that? Absolutely not. Probably. But other people will.
I don't know. You actually were going pretty quick yesterday. I think you were trying to race me or something. I was following you, and I was having a hard time keeping up. But it is impressive that you do primarily city driving within the random jaunt on the highway, and your car's estimated range is far surpassing what it sold you on the sticker of 250 miles, which is what the EPA rates this vehicle at.
Yep, and what's nice too is that our gas prices just keep going up and up, and I don't go to the gas station, and I don't need to get myself dirty from the gas pumps. And
oh, right, yeah. That's very interesting.
And it's very clean. And when we do need to stop at a Electrify America, we've been able. They're very nice Electrify America stops, as well as there's usually a Walmart or a mall, so you can actually just put your car in, plug it in, and then just take a walk and go shopping.
So you've been pleased with the stops locations where they've put the chargers then?
Yes, except for right now in Wilmington, we don't have any, but I don't need it because I'll just plug it in at home.
So those are all the positives of owning an EV. It's quiet, it's comfortable, it's easy, it saves you money. What are some of the harder things that you've had to figure out? I remember we were talking yesterday that one night you forgot to plug in the car.
So what you really need to do, there is an app on your phone, and I've been learning to look at it, but I had it plugged in, but for some reason it shut off, and I ended up it wasn't
charged enough for you to complete your driving the next day.
So I have learned now that I have to be I have to plug it in a lot sooner than 8 or 9 o'clock at night and then just go to bed. So, and just, those are kind of things you do.
Yeah, the biggest thing I think that you were having was maybe the connector wasn't plugged in all the way, but you didn't get a message or a notification on your phone that said, hey, your charging flap is open, but you're just not charging.
Right.
That could be an interesting feature that they could add to help to say, look, we can tell you've inserted a connector halfway, but it's not fully seated.
Right.
And maybe that's possible, maybe it's not. But so that's, remembering to plug in your car kind of every day, sort of like your cell phone, does have a learning curve. Have you had any issues with your car at all?
Nope.
Yeah, it's been pretty rock solid so far.
Nope.
A lot of ID.4 owners had some software bugs early on, with slow software and the screen not reacting quickly, but here I'm gesture controlling, it's going quick. Almost 4 miles per kilowatt hour on average, by the way, really just, eking the juice out. But you've had no issues with this screen?
Nope.
That's awesome. And any other problems with driving an EV, would you say? You've done the road trip thing, which worked out well, but you did have some issues charging on your road trip. A couple chargers didn't work, things like this.
We had a couple issues with the charger that did not work, and we had to move to another charger, but that was basically it. We charge, it takes us about, maybe we're there for about 45 minutes at the most. We've been
that's a big charge.
Yeah, that's a big charge, but mostly 15-20 minutes, and then we're on our way.
Yeah, and you guys have it down pretty well, where you'll get this thing down to 5-4-3% plug in and ride the charging curve when it charges the fastest. Now, I don't know who you learned that from, but
His name is Mr. Connor.
Right. Great turning radius, by the way.
Oh, this car has unbelievable turning radius.
They just go full sideways.
Yep. It's
pretty impressive. So I'm glad you're enjoying your ID.4. Should we put on the massaging seats?
Sure.
Right on now. Very nice. Just going by the container terminal here at the Wilmington port. Pretty interesting. A lot of stuff going on. Wow. And I'd say overall, I'm impressed with your ability to of course, handle an EV. I don't think that requires any sort of praise, but I think just the fact that you took the leap is very commendable. A lot of people are on the fence. They're worried about, they have to go a long distance here or there. And you've had situations where you've gone on a sales call to the other side of the state and come back, and you've just found a charger along the way, like the Wallace stop.
Yep.
So, yeah, pretty impressed with how you're handling things.
Yep, and I have an adapter in case I get stuck.
So you have a Tesla level 2 adapter, right? So the top priority is always to find J1772 plugs.
Correct.
Which is like just, you know, charge point stations, etc. And then there's a lot of stations around Wilmington that are just Tesla destination chargers.
Correct.
What's that restaurant that we like to go to with the charger? The real beachy one. We met the owner.
Yeah, I can't, it's a little Mexican place, but she's got a charger there.
Yep.
And I can put my connector.
Right, you can always just plug in the Tesla to Volkswagen and get enough to get home. So you have some adapters, you're set up pretty well. I gotta say, it's pretty cool to watch you drive this thing around. I never thought you'd be driving an EV so soon, but I will say, since I met you
Yes.
3 years ago, something like this,
Yep.
you wanted an EV.
Yes.
The first time I met you, you actually drove my Tesla.
Yes.
And you remember you autopiloting for the first time?
I autopiloted for the first time. Now, I have not autopiloted this car. My husband has on the highway, but I'm not there yet, so I don't need to be.
Right, just drive it.
There's a D for drive and a B, and the B one is just where I actually will slow down in front of a car, and it just slows down for you. And then the difference between that and the Tesla, though, the Tesla will automatically stop, but this one you have to put on your brake.
Right,
But
so no one pedal driving, true
Yes.
one pedal here, but maybe through a software update.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you expecting, if you had to have a couple updates to your car, what are some things that you'd love to see Volkswagen add?
I would love to see them have something that says animal dog in the car mode.
Oh, like a dog mode.
A dog mode, so people know that I can, you know, my car's set at 72, 65, and he's in there for a few minutes if I had to bring him along.
Well, also, I think part of that is having temperature reading on your phone
Yes.
sent from the car, right? So the Tesla, not only does it tell other people the temperature, I can load up my app and see the internal temperature. I think that's really important. I don't know if Volkswagen lawyers are going to be feeling, you know, open enough to do that with their cars and have everything, but we just got you a seat cover.
Yeah.
So Odie can sit in the back now and cruise around with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, glad you're enjoying your car.
Yep, I really do. I have a glass top window, and then we can shut it when it's like hot, and
like
really
today.
it cools down the car.
And actually, let's just talk about that just for a half a second, because there's 3 trims of ID.4. There's Pro, First Edition, and Pro S. Now, Garrett, your son, is getting a Pro S.
Correct.
Which is funny that you're both getting ID.4s.
Yep.
And that's pretty cool. Cool car. He's getting an all-wheel drive, though. He lives in North Dakota.
Yes.
And so he's waiting for his to come in. But I think, for you at least, the First Edition was the way to go, with the nice white seats and the white steering wheel and
Yep.
everything. And yeah, do you still feel cool, you know, okay with the color combination?
Yes.
All the spec?
Actually, we have gray seats,
Oh yeah, that's right, gray seats. Sorry.
and I love it. I get a lot of compliments on it, and people are amazed, and I think this is where our future is going, slowly but surely. But this is, I mean, I can't say anything negative.
Cool. Well, just floor it real quick to finish off the video. Is that your first time flooring it?
No.
Well, thanks for tuning in to another Out of Spec Reviews video. Hope you enjoyed what it's like to have sort of, you know, a normal average consumer share their experience with an EV. If you had other, you know, potentially women or people in your age group that you would like to you know, share your experience with, do you have anything to say to them? You know, I know a lot of people's, you know, my age, their moms may not be so comfortable to get into an EV.
Well, I mean, I'm getting ready to turn 60, and I just can't see going. I just love electric. I love the idea behind it, and I just love this car, and I would just, you know, challenge anybody in my age group to look into them. I really think we love it. We love when we charge. My husband and I, we talk to all the new charging people, you know, the other cars that have come out, and it's just kind of become a family.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
And you're not the oldest age group in your family, or should say the oldest generation, because your dad drives an EV.
My dad drives the Model 3, and he is 86 years old.
Yeah, well, we're going to go down and see him today. We're leaving you now. And if he's well enough to talk, I'll ask him a little bit about how, you know, a real older generation is handling an electric car. Maybe go for a ride if he's feeling up to it.
Oh, you know he will.
Yeah, well, he's YouTube famous.
Yeah, he is. He's something else. Him and my mom. She drives it. He wants to get her, though, the Y now.
Right.
Because he thinks that she might need a bigger car. I don't think so, but he just loves... He loves Tesla, and I'll tell you, once you're a Tesla driver, I guess you don't go back. That's what they all say.
Right, there you go. Well, cool. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for sharing your stories with us. That was a fun drive, and we'll see you later on.
All right. Bye.